This is Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Slecker and Dr. Johnny Lupinacci, educated educators talking education.
Well, of course it is. Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk, educated educators. Talking Education Monday homeroom. Welcome back, everybody. So good to see you, Johnny and Jess. How are you two doing?
It's doing great, Tim. You know, it's been a busy week. We're at full swing, all kinds of stuff with the semester up and going. You know, all the kids in session. I think pretty much anyone who's in school is in school right now, man. So it's been busy times.
Jess, what's going on with you?
Oh, you know, it's a brand new year for me. Shana Tova to all who celebrated. And we are ready to start this week off. Shall we dive into the news?
You got some trending news for us then, Jess, is what you're saying.
Of course I do.
Drop it on us.
Well, K-12 dive. Despite growing gun violence concerns, teachers say drills don't help. 4 days later, Biden administration issues an executive order to improve active shooter drills.
I like the scooter drills.
Yeah,
I want more of those.
I'll tell you, the last time I had a scooter drill, it was a real problem. So I'm glad that the
Safety
Biden
town, man.
administration is.
Safety town with the scooter drills.
All right,
Jess, give us
what's
that
going on?
headline again.
Biden administration issues executive order to improve active shooter drills. So we just learned that the shooter drills don't really help. So why are we improving it? What is this path? Guys, what's going on?
You look at this, right? So digging into this, I think there's some right off the top, though, just active shooter drills don't improve. You know, you automatically think, okay, well, what is it that we're looking to improve? Is it going to make the, be morbid here, the death count drop because we're doing the active shooter drills right? And, all of this, though, is to kind of look at this and say, that you read deep in here, it's like active shooter drills traumatize the shit out of kids, teachers, and everybody involved in them. And so the issue of the executive order is to improve the shooter drills so as to reduce the anxiety and trauma inflicted by the shooter drills. I'm asking this question going, maybe if we didn't have to do active shooter drills, so in other words, let's not improve the active shooter drills. Let's improve the fact that we have active shooters, which to me, Johnny Lupinacci, sounds like I'm not going to use that word, but sounds like a gun issue to me, not a drill issue. It seems like this is a gun issue and that improving the drills is really not going to do a damn thing about school shootings because the reality is this is a gun problem.
Well, Tim, I agree with you. It's not a gun problem. It's a policy about guns. Guns themselves aren't the problem.
I know.
Access to them. And, I just don't want you to come off, our uber conservative fans will say, Tim thinks guns kill people. In fact, if you want to chime in on this conversation, you can always give us a call. You can leave us a text or send a message over to 608-557-8577. We call it the Busted Pencils mailbag. You know what? We get those questions in there. We get those comments. We read them on the show. We answer them. We have a conversation with you. But Tim, I agree with you. We keep coming back to this, and kids are normalized to this at this point. So, I mean, I think there's some value that we actually have to have a protocol for what to do because it is a reality that there is likely to be a shooting in our schools. That's just the reality, just the sheer statistics of this. So I'm with you. On both hands, we have to prepare for it. And it does a lot of damage, actually. It's actually pretty much normalized something that should never be a part of any kid's normal school day, right? Or any teacher or anybody going to work. Just imagine, listener, if you're not even in education and every day you go to work, some of our law officers, they have this pressure that every day they go to work, they are, in harm's way. But for the most of us, it shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't be thinking, hey, I'm going to the grocery store today and I might get shot. This is a reality for too many kids in our country going to school. So it is an issue of policy. It is every way an issue of gun control, right? And the kinds of rules and regulations we have around a gun culture that's out of hand.
Yeah.
And I'm not anti-guns, and I don't think you are either, Tim. I don't want to put that in your mouth, but I just want to say, like, there's policy. There is policy that can prevent these things. So let's stop chopping it up about, whether the active shooter drills work or not, and get to the actual root of the problem.
Yeah, I see two issues here. And yeah, so our conservative fans, I typically every year try to take down at least one deer with my gun that I shoot through the body of the deer. So I understand guns and I do quite well. So it's, whatever, Johnny. Thanks for making that
clarification. Just the hunting well, folks. You heard it here.
Look, man, I don't call it, when I shoot a deer, I don't call it a harvest. I call it a kill, because the reality is that,
well.
But we got two issues here, though. Number one is the active shooter drill, and what's being revealed here in the research is that the active shooter drill, the drilling, putting students and teachers through the process. It doesn't mean I disagree with you, Johnny, that we don't need some kind of what to do when this happens. But the reality here is that the process of active shooter drills inflicts mental trauma on the children and teachers involved in the drilling. Is there a way, and I'm kind of wondering this question out loud, we need to improve the shooter drills so that they will cause less anxiety and less trauma? I'm not sure you can actually tone down an active shooter drill to get to the point where it's not a traumatic event in and of itself. It feels to me like if you had hey, we're going to have an active shooter drill light, like where we're going to have flowers and cake and pretty happy songs and stuff like that.
All right, Tim.
Okay,
Tim,
go ahead. That's what I'm saying.
All right, Tim, who shoots the deer? Again, I'll take the stance. I am actually not a hunter. I am not anti-guns, but I am strict gun control. And I sort of think, if you're hunting for food, cool. If you're not hunting for food and it's for sport, I think it's weird. But that's okay, Tim. You can be my weird friend. I still appreciate you. But nonetheless, and also Tim does eat the deer. I know.
I was going to say I hunt for food.
But I know I was just teasing you a bit. But here's the thing I'm going to get to. You got to do something, Tim.
I know.
And this is and so as a school leader and as a school teacher, I hate these things, right? I hate that we are in a moment where we have to do this, but we have to do something. And also I want to say, like, this has been normalized for most kids. That's a sad thing. So I mean, the reality is we have to do something. And you said it, it's to minimize the death count when an active shooter comes to your school. And that's not me saying, oh, active shooters are everywhere, but just the reality is you can't be the school that isn't ready or isn't prepared for when that happens. And the reality is that every student and every teacher that goes into a school and every principal, it's their nightmare. It's their lived reality. It's every day. And that's not being shocking about. The numbers show that there isn't exactly this way we can just like predict exactly where these are going to happen and say they're fluke incidents. It is a deep cultural problem. And Tim, you got to do something about it. So I think these discussions are important, but I don't think we could stop doing active shooter drills. I think you have to. I think again, it's a smoke screen. Mm-hmm. It's mildly gaslighting the bigger problem. It's saying, hey, let's focus on actually the root of this, because we shouldn't even be having to do these.
Right.
And the ramifications of not doing them are worse than doing them, and doing them have negative implications on our community too, but better than being dead. So,
all right, on this one though, Jess, gotta have you weigh in on this, because Johnny, we're a couple years older than you, so
just
maybe
a couple,
just a few. What are you thinking?
So I have perspective on this as a student who grew up with active shooter drills, as well as now a teacher who, I have young students and we do active shooter drills twice a year. So it's one of these things that I do see as necessary. We do fire drills. We do tornado drills. We have to do active shooter drills. We cannot avoid this problem, because as Johnny said, we can't be the school that doesn't do the drill and then really needs to have done the drill.
Mm-hmm.
And like a fire drill, there needs to be some preparation, some discussion with the students of this is something that we're preparing for. It's not something that we expect to happen. And it's something that we need to be prepared for if it does happen. My experience as a student was that it was, sometimes it was traumatizing and sometimes it's just like, oh, here we fucking go again. We got to do this damn drill. And I was in the middle of an art project. I was in the middle of writing an essay. And there were other times where we didn't know that it was a drill. There were other times when we had an actual alert. And it's like, okay, there is actually something going on. We have law enforcement responding to our school right now. We don't have any information. Everyone stay silent for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. And growing up in a school where there could be an actual drill or it could be a real situation. Yeah, it sucks. It definitely sucks. And it's something that we needed to be prepared for. So it's one of these things where, like, yes, I understand that it does cause trauma and it's the society, it's the situation that we live in. We're fortunate that statistically it is still rare. So let's make sure that it stays rare and let's make sure that we are prepared for it in case it happens, because we can't say that it won't.
You said, Jess, so much there too that you laid in there, because I think about you and then my daughter, roughly around the same age, and she did come home from those drills very traumatized, and talked about it and was, but then she did also have the ability to say, but I guess they're needed, Dad, because we know that these things do happen. In fact, the RAND Corporation's latest research on school year 2019 to 2020, 1 in 6 teachers nationwide works in a district impacted by gun violence. Okay, so the reality of rarity is that it's not so darn rare anymore. So we're putting it out there. I just, on this one, though, think about this and go, okay, yeah, gun control is definitely the issue. I feel like we're not having that discussion and we're spending way too much time talking about drills. But if we're going to talk about drills, can we really improve the trauma effect on kids of an active shooter drill? Or do we just have to recognize that having an active shooter drill is the reality we live in these times? And yeah, this is the extra mental health damage we're going to inflict on kids, because to stay safe in today's society, well, guess what? We're going to traumatize you with the anxiety of a potential, which is better than the reality of actually going through an active shooter reality. Johnny.
Not Tim. I mean, I'm old enough to kind of remember this. So I'm hoping that you remember this. But do you remember the Cold War?
Yeah, I do. I know.
Do the drills where we would what to do in the event of nuclear war. I mean, do you remember we did that as kids? I mean, we were. I don't know. I don't want to compare. It might be apples and oranges, and this is not my area of expertise, folks. But as a teacher, having, like Jess had said, having to be a participant in that reality of having to prepare students to do the drills, to know what to do, to be knowledgeable in the event of a disaster, I think is really important, and they have impacts. But do you remember, Tim, like we had to go and duck cover.
Yeah, that'll really help you in the case of nuclear war.
Yeah, and we were thinking, what happens if we are nuked?
But it was so far away from our reality, because we didn't have actual nuclear events to compare it to. Where today, when Jess is saying, I mean, the reality of Jess, my daughter, kids today, teachers today is that 1 in 6, and so it's real
close by. Yeah,
we could only imagine getting hit by a nuclear bomb, which was sad enough in the 80s to remember that, but our current students and teachers now, it truly is a reality. They know somebody, they've been affected, they know of another teacher. In fact, we've interviewed on Busted Pencils
Yeah, we have.
parents of children who were at the Parkland shooting, so the reality of how close this is. It's just, I look at this and I don't know. It's just the idea here that we're going to make this less traumatic and less mentally anguishing for children and teachers. I don't think we're going to do that. And you know what? Let's make the drills as effective as they can be. But man, where is the counter push, or maybe not the counter push, but where is all of our effort being put into the reality of saying it's a gun control issue? And when are we going to get serious about gun control? Because guns don't kill people, but the people holding the guns kill a lot of people. And if you weren't holding a gun, you wouldn't kill as many people.
But and there's I like to say, let's stop putting Band-Aids on a deeper wound.
Right.
Because this is even simpler. It's like, let's stop putting Band-Aids on a splinter. Just take the splinter out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like we have these it shouldn't even hurt. It shouldn't even be bad. We shouldn't have this problem. If policy was aligned with, you can still have guns but stricter policies and make it harder and shift the culture. It's a quick fix. It's an easy fix. But it's one that apparently the Biden administration, so this is both, we're not just picking on right? This is just like, come on, this is a no-brainer. This is low-hanging fruit for school change and improved community. I'm with you, Tim. Let's just get it done. So, next time you're talking to the incoming administration, I know you have a direct line to our future president and vice president. And so I really hope you just nudge them and say, hey, if you want to keep getting invites to the barbecue, you want to be our neighbor, then come on. Then make this change. Make it a little bit less dangerous for kids and teachers to be in schools. Please.
Yeah, we're not going to reduce the trauma of an active shooter drill, but boy, we could reduce the number of active shootings. You know what? What do you think? 608-557-8577. That's the mailbag number. If you have your comments, what are we going to do? Do we make active shooter drills less traumatic, or do we reduce the need for them? The number is 608-557-8577. And that's what we do here in Homeroom, is we kind of set up the week going forward, something to think about. And Johnny, I'll put something out to that next presidential administration to let them know. In fact, they can use our number too, 608-557-8577, if they have some suggestions. But Johnny Lupinacci, Monday morning Homeroom. I love you guys. Thanks for busting.
I love you too, man. I'm so great to start the week with you both.
Awesome. It's a Busting Pencils week. Now go out there and bust your pencils. Now it's time for our moment of Zen. If those in charge of society, politicians, corporate executives, and owners of the press and television can dominate our ideas, they will be secure in their power. They will not need soldiers patrolling the streets. We will control ourselves. I want to thank you for busting pencils, and tune in Wednesday particularly. We want to talk about teaching honesty. Our guest, Sarah Stitzline. It's going to be an awesome one. Keep busting pencils.